Hello there, welcome back. Today I'm going to talk about the art of self-defense. A new film that's just been released. In the UK we're just getting it streaming. I don't guess I haven't got a cinema release in the UK. It stars Jesse Eisenberg, Imogen Poots and Alexander Nivola. And it's about a guy who gets mugged and decides to take up self-defense classes, which in this case was karate. Just taking karate classes and trying to get over the sense of himself being ineffectual, weak, just being a nobody really. And the whole idea is that masculinity and where we can go if you're pushing it to the extreme. That's the idea, and how do people react to difficult circumstances. I should point out straight away, this is a comedy, and it's a nicely funny comedy. It's very dry. It's not there to have tons of jokes all the time. It's not like a full-on gag fest. It's just a lot of dry reactions, a lot of details. It's part drama, part comedy. And the comedy is very character-based and how people react to things. But sometimes it's a bit broad, and sometimes there's an imbalance between that. Sometimes they're taking it very dry and very close to realism, and other times they go a bit more cartoonish. And the big criticism about this film is it's unbalanced. It feels like the script needed another draft just to finesse certain things that may have worked in reading it, but when you actually watch it on a film, feels a bit off. Specifically in the middle and at the end, where there's a couple of moments where that's kind of, you try to get to A to B, and sometimes they're a bit rushed, and it's like you could have spread this out a bit more, and you could have got a bit more from it. It's like an hour 45 minutes. It could have, and I think it would have worked better than an hour 50. I think it just feels that it needs a couple of more moments, a couple of places that would have stuck the landing better and would have helped get from A to B. But it still works nicely. I mean, it's a very well made film. It's very it's nice. It's not like the most ambitious visually, but it gets its points across visually. It specifies what you should be looking at, what's important, what's not important. It just is nothing visually will blow you away, really. It's like, it takes place in various karate dojos, offices, homes. There's nothing in the visual sense. There's a few shots in the streets. Nothing in the visual sense is going to blow you away. It doesn't take these intimate landscapes and makes them epic. It just covers them in a nice way. There's some nice lighting, but there's nothing there that's really going to make you think this guy's the next Kubrick or something. But it's nicely done. But I'm not sure how much budget was, so I don't think it was quite a low budget, so it did what it could. But I've seen films in some low budgets have done better with what they have. And the writing as well is kind of modest. It's like try to take some chances and show the idea of how a male can react to trauma. And sometimes it's a bit caricatured. And it's a bit too influenced by Fight Club for its own good, because Fight Club's a much better film visually and thematically. It's more interesting than this. But this thing still does some good stuff in it. I mean, the whole idea is Jesse Eisenberg plays this guy who's a bit weak, a bit feminine. He cannot get on with males because he's sensitive and tries to be understanding of people and tries to be on their side and tries to be a nice guy, and a lot of people just find him weak and a loser. And after he gets beaten up, he decides to go and buy a gun, which is a really good scene where he has to try and buy a gun and find out all the complications of gun ownership. And then instead of that, he goes to a local karate place, which he sees in the street as he's walking, and he's like, I'll try that instead. He finds he likes it, he finds he's got an aptitude for it, and it brings out his killer instinct a bit more. It's like there is something below the surface in him that is attracted to this. That's like, he's not as much of a weakling as he thought he was. But as he gets into the idea of it, the actual senpai played by Alexander Novola is, you find him he's a much more sinister figure than you thought. But also, as you go on, you think he's also a bit more of a pathetic figure than you thought as well. So it's kind of complicated in that way. But the whole idea is like, how far are you going to give up your own space to feel safe and to take on the point of view of someone else as your point of view. Is like, how far are you going to go with that before it becomes dangerous, before you start to compromise yourself. That's what the idea seems to be, and it's done in a very deadpan way. The problem for me with the film, it doesn't know how to land really during its moments. It's like it sets things up and then it's trying to keep it subtle, but sometimes it needed to be a bit more obvious about what it was doing, because sometimes it's a bit too subtle in a way that means the film itself feels a bit indifferent to its own themes, and sometimes it needs a little bit more here or there, a little more detail here or there. Yeah, I mean, it's one of those films, a lot of times the film actually, certain films give you too much information. This one is like, it's almost like pulled back too much information, and it's like, you needed a teensy bit more. Not much, just a teensy bit. That's just the way it is, that's just the way the film feels like. I'm going to have to get any spoilers now. There's no way around it, but before I go there, I'll just say it's a good film, it's really enjoyable. I definitely recommend trying to see it. It's fun, it's an enjoyable, quirky little indie film. It's really well made, good acting. It's got some very nice funny moments in it, and it plays around with lots of interesting ideas. Now, any spoilers. Basically, the film kind of doesn't own itself, is the big thing with the spoilers. Is it's like halfway through, Eisenberg gets fired, and you basically don't know. You know why he's fired, because he punches his boss and then he's trying to act tough, which isn't quite built up enough. It's almost built up, but it's not quite. I feel there's one scene missing there that would have put it over. And then, after that, he gets employed by the guy who runs the dojo, the karate dojo, and at that point he starts to see there's more going on. It turns out the karate people, the people who mugged him in the first place, they kill his dog, so he becomes so he can get another German dog that's tougher. They make him start listening to metal music, and he does not step back and say, like, not really, no. No, he goes for it because he wants to feel more powerful. And the whole idea is, like, you're complicit in your own destruction by doing this, by not standing up or not thinking anything through. Like, he's wanting to be dominated, to be forced to be something else. So he's complicit in a way that in any cult or any religion, you're complicit. It's like, you can't say they made me do it, yeah they did, but you also did it yourself. There's a point where he actually beats someone up and hurts them in a garage that is the Sensei films. So he's now got blackmail material on him. Then later on, at one point, Imogen puts a character who's much higher up in the food chain than Eisenberg is to start with. She gets shot in the leg from this guy they're trying to beat up to try and inspire him to self-defense, and Eisenberg goes mad and actually beats the guy to death. That's a brutal scene. That's really brutal. And so now he's got a red thing on it saying he killed somebody, and obviously it's now been filmed, so people now know they've got dirt on him. So they've got dirt on Eisenberg. Then it turns out the dojo's getting dirt on all these other people who were students or former students, the people who had been injured and who had killed people. And it turns out at one point when they were beating up Eisenberg, one of the karate guys went to kill him because they said, yeah, he looks useless, he'll never become anything, which really hurts his feelings. And they kill his dog, which really hurts his feelings too. And of course they turn the tide on the people by destroying the blackmail tapes and then asking for a face-to-face fight with the mentor, like in private. And as the guy gets ready, Eisenberg puts a gun and shoots him in the head. And tells him he's got a pinky thing, he did this weird pinky thing, which is, it turns out Navola's been telling him a lot of bullshit about certain moves that they all believe, and one of them was this pinky move that's revered thing that his master told him about. And then Eisenberg shoots the guy and bullshits about he discovered the move and destroyed him. It's a funny moment, but an idea of him after all this setup of the big fights coming, Eisenberg just shoots a guy in the head. That's really hilarious. So I mean, the film has a funny thing about murder. It's like, people, the good guys kill people. At the end of the day, he makes up that he promotes Eisenberg and puts character to be the senpai, to be the leader, and they're going to change the thing and make it a bit more compassionate and change the ways of this karate dojo. So it's almost like a cult been changing leadership to go from something that's really malicious to something that might be malicious but might not be. And that's where I think the film kind of falters as well, because it's trying to suggest with Imogen Poots' character will have a better leadership there, and it's like, she's a really flawed character, you've set her up as a really flawed character. I'm not sure if it's going to go that way, and I think they're trying to tie loose ends. It's like, it's looking much more like you're saying males are so horrible that only women can sort them out. It's like, really, that's not a good solution. You know, both males and females can be horrible. You've shown that this character Imogen Poots plays can be horrible. It's not a good ending. You need a bit more ambiguity to it to say they're going to go a different direction, but it might not be good because all these bodies are still in the background. You know, you can get a feeling it was rushed a little bit at the end, and you needed another minute or two just to fill in a few gaps to make it more ambiguous. And that's my big problem with the film, is it could be more ambiguous in certain places, that certain things needed filled out and certain things needed made slightly more ambiguous to what they're doing, why they're doing it, and what's the possible outcome. Because in Fight Club, it's very clear throughout the film that Edward Norton, the lead character, is a nutcase, and it turns out Tyler Durden's his projection, and it's always about your projections coming back to haunt you, and your ideas might be the worst ideas, you're not perfect. And his relationship with Marla at the end is like, it's about two people who are very imperfect learning how to deal with each other. In this one, they don't, Eisenberg and Imogen Poots' characters are interesting characters, but you don't quite get enough of them. And it's something that needs a bit more development. Yeah, so the Jesse Eisenberg and Imogen Poots' characters are a bit, they're compromised, but they're a bit underdeveloped in some ways, and it is unsatisfying that you feel that there should have been a bit more little details here or there. Doesn't mean they have to change the style of the film, it just needs, you need more for the ending to actually work. It just feels like it just ends, and there's a lot of questions that it doesn't feel like it's ending for the sake of leaving you a lot of doubt. It just feels like it hasn't been finished. Like, there's a lot of bits you need to know. And there's a lot of bits you need to know about Eisenberg at work when he punched his boss. Like, leading up to that, there's a couple of moments. I needed a few more moments here. Even to make it ambiguous, it just felt like it went from A to B without giving you all the little nuggets you needed to get there. And the same at the end where it's getting from B to C. And you know a lot of the motivation, but you need a bit more. And the Navola character needs a bit more here or there, because you find out how much of a sad case he is, and how he manipulates people, and how the whole thing that Eisenberg thought he was being mentored, and it turns out he's been manipulated by someone who's a bit of a sociopath. And you see photographs of what probably his ex-wife or ex-girlfriend, and suggesting that he's a lot of problems with women, he'd been dumped by women, and he's a lot of anger towards women because he makes all these comments about Imogen Poots' character, like, she's the best fighter there, but she's not a man, and it's like, there's lots of misogyny there that is interesting, but you feel they're pulling back for the sake of good taste, and it's like, you need to go a bit further here. Again, it's just one of those things where you just feel there was more there, and there was more to the Imogen Poots character that could have been done with the idea that despite the fact she's dealing with this misogynist, she keeps going back and trying to prove herself to him. And you think there needed a bit more. Like, what's her hang up? What's driving her? You never quite get it. It's like, because you're a good actress playing it, she fills in a lot of work with it, but you feel you need a bit more in the writing there just to land it. And that's the film. It's just like, it's 90% there but not 100%, and that's frustrating thing because there's a lot of good stuff, but when you compare it to Fight Club, it looks kind of weak, but compared to most films it looks pretty strong. It just needed a bit more work, and it just feels it's a bit scared of doing anything that's too controversial. Like, killing people's fine, but don't get too controversial. Don't insult your potential audience by going beyond toxic masculinity ideas and try and go towards toxic humanity ideas, like how we're all screwed rather than just the men. It just feels like it's always holding back slightly. It doesn't. It's too scared to really. You can see this woman is compromised, but it's too scared to really go into it. It's also too scared to go into really what's driving this Eisenberg's character as well. There's a lot of like repressed homosexuality suggested in this film, but it's never really delved into as deeply as you want it to be, and it just feels like there's a lot there that's there, but it needed a bit more detail. Not even speeches, just little character beats here or there, little movements between characters that need a bit more of. And that's just what's missing. It's just like there's a little bit missing in this film. I'm not sure if it was cut out or was never thought of. It just feels like it's 90% there, not 100% there. So it's a good film, but it's not a great film. That's what I say about this film. But it's still well worth seeing. It just needed a bit more work in the script. You know, it's the way it goes sometimes. A film can be very good, but not quite there either. And that's one of these films. But still enjoyable. I'm still happy to have seen it. I would happily rewatch it because the performances are good. There's a lot of funny moments in it. And it does go into this weird macho cult-like thing. And looks at it, it just needed a bit more surgical precision. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll be back again for another one soon. Right, bye for now.